everybody, welcome back. This is episode 16 of Audacity. I'm Kaylee McDaniel, Senior Marketing Manager at the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber.
And I'm Nate Fisher, I'm the Director of Communications at the Greater OKC Chamber.
We have a lot of great things on the podcast for you today. Nate, why don't you go ahead and give them a preview before we start walking to our next destination?
That's right. Well, we've got a lot of cool things to talk about today. Like usual, we're going to talk about Oktoberfest action in Oklahoma City, where you can get into some Oktoberfest festivities. Absolutely, that's right. The dirndls and the whole thing. Do some jumping over your own leg. I love all of it.
Perfect.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about some retail updates. We've had a few retail updates and some things that we'd like to let you guys know about on the shopping scene in Oklahoma City and some of the things happening there. And we're also going to be talking about arts in Oklahoma City.
Right. We've got an exciting interview coming up with Eddie Walker, who's with OK Contemporary. So we're going to walk that direction and go speak to him in just a little bit. But also, we're standing in front of the #2 immersive art experience
in the world.
Right
in the world.
Factory Obscura.
That's right.
I just wanted to give them a nod for that accomplishment. Certainly, you can read more about that on velocityokc.com as usual.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's take a walk, and we're actually going to walk towards the Oklahoma Contemporary Arts Center and our next interview with Eddie Walker. So
we finally made it.
We made it to Oklahoma Contemporary, and we're getting ready to have a great interview with Eddie Walker.
That's right.
I foresee very good things for this interview for some reason. I know this is going to go off
really
fabulously.
Well.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, there's some other exciting things that are taking place in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of the art scene, you know, we've got a really nice rundown of a lot of the cool things that are happening in the Oklahoma City arts and culture scene that you can access via velocityokc.com. That's actually a content module. A multimedia, what we call a multimedia content module.
We just like to deliver that content in every way possible.
All kinds of medias. That's right. Whatever media you like, we got it. We're here to deliver it to you. But we're going to have a link to that in the show notes, so be sure to check that out in advance of this cool interview that you're getting ready to see with Eddie Walker. But some of the other things that we wanted to talk about was...
I want to talk about Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest in Oklahoma City.
Oktoberfest.
That's right. That's right. What are some of your favorite things to do for Oktoberfest in general?
You know, I was just writing a Better Life blog post, going back to that content all over the place. Lots of different ways for information coming out. But I was reading up on what's going on at the river this year. They have a ton of activities every Saturday in October.
Yes.
And all of them include a beer garden.
That's right.
I thought that sounded pretty fun.
I actually went to that last weekend, so I can report firsthand that it is a good time.
Awesome.
So yeah, they had some live music and some good German beers and some sauerkraut and some brats, and it was all good, man. It was fun.
It felt like, if I remember correctly, that each weekend had a little bit of a different focus. So there were always going to be the live music, the beers, the brats, but maybe one weekend you would go and you could learn about camping outside or how to be a safer hiker, that sort of thing. So those seem like, you know, depending on what you're interested in, you might find another reason besides just the beers to go partake.
So yeah, go check that out. It's actually located just to the north of the Whitewater Center, where the Whitewater Center is. So if you are used to going to maybe the Chesapeake Boathouse for stuff or the Devon Boathouse for things, kind of right next to the river, keep going towards the Whitewater Center, and then to your north, that's where everything is located. But right around where the pump track is and all the BMX stuff, they've got a lot of cool stuff out there. A nature walk. So yeah, definitely go check that out. So that's cool.
What other Oktoberfest themed things are you looking forward to?
Well, I saw that the Jones Assembly is getting ready to have their Jones-Toberfest, and so you know, it's kind of along the same lines. German food, beers. One of the things that I thought was most interesting about that, though, was the schnitzel on a stick.
There you go.
That's something I may have to check that out just for that. Yeah, schnitzel on a stick, for sure. And then the other thing that I saw was chamber member Fassler Hall. They're getting ready to do their Oktoberfest as well, so we'll have a link to that in the show notes as well.
And then McNally's always does something, right?
McNally's, well, and they actually had their Harvest Beer Festival that I took advantage of a couple times this last week. So
did you now?
Yeah, I got some pint nights and checked out some of the different.
You're really living large these days.
Checked out some of the different brews that they had. Yeah, all safe out on the patio. You know, they expanded their outdoor space. So.
Yeah, I every time I drive by there, I think, I need to go check that out. That looks really cool what they've done. So,
right.
Good
so
for them.
safe ways to do Oktoberfest all around, I think. Yeah, because the Jones is going to be outside. Fassler Hall, obviously, that's half of that is outside all the time. time no matter what. So there you go. So yeah.
I would also say shout out to Oklahoma City Breweries. I feel like a lot of them release special edition beers around this time, whether it's some sort of Oktoberfest beer or something that Nate really enjoys, pumpkin beer. I know he's not really into that, guys. He hates it, but I like it. So, now's the time to check that out. One of my favorites is always Prairie. They have some seasonal stouts that I personally really enjoy. So
it's getting to stout season for sure.
It's almost, what was the one we really liked? You Got a Horchata.
You Got a Horchata. I hope they bring that back.
Life-changing, you guys. That was like 3 years ago, and I still think about it. Maybe even longer, honestly.
Bring that sucker back. Yeah, I do try to be kind of the Will Rogers of beers when it comes to beers. I've never met a beer I didn't like, but some of the pumpkin beers are pushing it a little bit.
Pushing it for you. Okay, I can respect that. We all have different tastes. So speaking of outdoor ways to enjoy yourself. Yeah. I know that there are a lot of outdoor experiences that have to do with Oklahoma City retail that are coming online right now. So what do we know about that?
Well, it was cool. We actually had a nice story in the Velocity OKC not too long ago about how some of our local retailers and retail developments are using some planned outdoor spaces in order to make field shoppers a little bit more comfortable and, give people all kinds of different options when it comes to, browsing and shopping and supporting local shops. And so we'll have a link to that article in the show notes, but had a nice little rundown about some of the things that people are doing. And we also had a little rundown of where some chamber members have recently relocated.
Fantastic.
So we know that BC Clark has opened a brand new space in Class and Curve, and that looks awesome. We also know that Empire Slice House has opened a satellite location in Class and Curve as well. We had a nice little story about Flicks, the Flicks Brew House.
Right.
Some of the things that they're doing up there at the Half development and how that's coming along, and some of the things that they're planning on doing there, and some updates on the outlet malls. And of course, the outlet mall is it's outdoors, so it's a pretty
you can at least be outside for the majority of the time.
Right. So
safe there.
We've heard that they have actually had some good traffic lately. I think just because of the fact that they are outdoors and some of the things that they're doing and some new stores that they've got. But dovetailing on that, though, we've got a story coming out today about some of the things that are going on at the Chisholm Creek area as well.
I was going to say, when you talk about kind of the outdoor experiences and retail, that is the number one place that comes into mind to me, just because they've done such a good job of placemaking, basically making it a place where families can come, enjoy themselves, eat outside, play near the water installation, all that stuff. So it seems like a great place.
So chamber members all over the Chisholm Creek development, and I believe the Chisholm Creek development itself is a chamber member.
Yep.
So we're going to have a good story about that that comes out tomorrow that Marcus wrote. So love that. So we'll have a link to that in the show notes as well.
Very good.
So Kaylee, what do you say we go upstairs? We hear a little bit about the Oklahoma Contemporary Arts Center from Eddie Walker, who's the executive director here. And then we'll reconvene and wrap things up, yay? And we're here with Eddie Walker, who is the executive director of the Oklahoma Contemporary Arts Center, this beautiful new building and facility that they got here. And we're so glad that you've taken a few moments out of your day to speak with us a little bit about some of the things you guys have going on here today.
Sure, and welcome. Always happy to talk about Oklahoma Contemporary and this fabulous new building. We're 30 years old. We got started out at the fairgrounds in 1989 with a very heavy focus on education. From that, we get into exhibitions and performance, but really we're all about fostering creativity in all of its forms. And that's from birth to senior adults. We really want to serve everybody. One of our unofficial mottos is everyone belongs here. And there's even a piece in the opening exhibition that speaks to that as well. We do that through classes, through exhibitions, through camps, free programs, public programs, concerts, music, visual art, ceramics, you name it, we try to do it here at Oklahoma Contemporary.
We were talking before, and we both know some people that have taken classes at the old facility.
That's right.
And I'd like to hear a little bit about, how that transition has gone to the new facility, and maybe some of the things that you can do now that maybe you weren't able to do in the previous facility.
I was at the Philharmonic for 30 years, and the Civic Center Music Hall was one of the first MAPS projects. And so I learned firsthand the value of facilities and the quality of facilities and how that impacts how arts organizations make their art, make their music, do their craft. And this is a fabulous example of that in action. The fairgrounds was a fine place to do business for 30 years, but we like to kind of equate it to going from a garage mom and pop operation to overnight becoming a major institution in this community. As an example of what this building allows us to do, at the fairgrounds, we would typically offer maybe 10 or a dozen different classes in each session. We were prepared to offer 50 different classes here in this new facility prior to COVID. Obviously now we've shifted most of that to virtual experiences and online delivery, but this is a purpose-built facility for 21st century programming for 21st century appetites. One of the new areas of activity for us is a full digital studio setup. We will offer digital media, courses in digital photography. We even have a sound studio in the building for filmmakers or recording artists to mix their product. New areas of activity for preschool kids, 6 months to 4 years old, are now possible in a space built just for those little visitors. We have a teen arts studio specific for teens, and we have a teen arts council that helps create programming for teenagers. As much as I like to think, having raised 2 teenagers, I know what they want, I don't. You really need teens telling you what teens want to do. So everything is possible on this new building. Most spaces are designed to be flexible, including a theater and a dance studio. And so we expect to really have a lot of fun over the next 2, 3, 4 years as together with the community we figure out what this building should and can do for us, for our patrons, and for the community. We see this as a gathering place. Our admission is free, and so everyone is welcome here, and it's accessible for everyone.
I want to stay focused on the facility itself for a second, because this was designed by award-winning architect Brand Elliott, one of Oklahoma City's most notable architects for sure. Can you talk a little bit more about what kind of went into the unique design aspects, any parts of the building that you think are especially unique that you want to point out or share with us?
Happy to. And speaking of awards, we've already been nominated for 2 international awards.
Amazing.
World Architecture News, we're nominated in the Civic category, the only one in the United States.
Wow.
And Blueprint just listed their nominees for awards in their next round, and we're, again, the only U.S. nominee in our category of privately funded public buildings. So we're very proud about that.
Yeah.
This is actually the result of about 12 years of work that started, obviously 12 years ago, as the board of then City Arts Center, and now Oklahoma Contemporary, began the visioning process of, what was the next step? What was the next evolution for that organization? And how could it better serve Oklahoma City? Obviously moving downtown, step one. Had to be downtown where the center of gravity is for this great city that we all live in and call home. And so they identified Rand as the architect. He'd been involved for a long time with the organization. And this building really pays homage to the Oklahoma sky. This aluminum skin, or the fins as we call them, is designed to capture the sunlight of the ever-changing Oklahoma sky. So in the mornings, in the evenings, it'll feel pinkish and orange depending on the sunset or the sunrise. One of my favorites is like on dark, stormy days, it kind of gets a green cast. So it's really designed to be an iconic element of the new Oklahoma City, and again, built on light. And so it was only fitting that the inaugural exhibition also tied to the theme of light. Bright Golden Haze, which we all know, if you're an Oklahoman, first line of Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical, Oklahoma. And that exhibition, featuring 19 different artists, plays on light as both a medium and a metaphor, and the pieces in it use light to identify place, to identify identity, actually our own identities. So it's a really, really exciting exhibition, really on a level that the state's never seen before. And that's kind of a goal of ours, is to really bring art to a whole new level here. Contemporary art, I need to say. Art of living artists, art that responds to the times that we are living in.
Very cool. Okay, so speaking of Bright Golden Haze, tell us a little bit about Bright Golden Haze Reflections and Shadow on the Glare, and kind of how all these things are working together.
Shadow on the Glare is in our Oklahoma Gallery. That's a space that we will always dedicate to Oklahoma artists. It's a companion piece to Bright Golden Haze, again playing on light. The title comes from an M. Scott Momaday poem, and this is an exhibition that is in photography and video. And again, it's the play on light and Oklahoma landscapes. There are some really wonderful photographs in this exhibition, and I encourage everyone to take advantage of it. Bright Golden Haze Reflections is one of the coolest projects that we've come up with. Actually, I should say our chairman, Mr. OKC, has come up with. 13 other nonprofit arts groups in town are partnering with us through funding from the Kirkpatrick Family Fund to help celebrate our opening. And so they, in turn, have coexistent exhibitions or performances or concert series that again play on light. Denise Duong has a piece at Scissortail Park. The Oklahoma City Arts Council has a Thursday night concert series that takes place right here on our north lawn. OCU's Norick Art Gallery has a piece. Cowboy Hall's involved. The Oklahoma City Museum of Art. A really wonderful collaboration between some of our city's major arts institutions. And it's nice that they wanted to help shine the light on us and us in turn on them.
That's really great. I also want you to talk a little bit about public art institutions that you guys have had out in Campbell Art Park since before the building was even complete, and tell us a little bit more about how that kind of plays into your overall mission. If people come visit, what are they going to see right now, and give us any preview that you may have for things that are coming up, if you can. Just between us and our listeners, it's fine.
So with Campbell Art Park, which is a city park running along Broadway, we have about 6 acres here that we sit on, and not all of it's parking lot. We have the sculpture garden on the east, we have the north lawn, and then we have Campbell Art Park. We formed a partnership with the city maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago and began programming art in that space, public art, as a way to start identifying this spot as ours and as a place where interactive public art would be showcased. Right now, until the 19th of October, we have a spectacular exhibition by Jen Lewin called Aqueous. It's a ground-based installation, and in the daytime it kind of reflects an iridescence that's fun to walk along and have lunch beside, but at night is when it's really special. The tiles light up with different colors as you step on them, and every once in a while the entire piece gets activated. So that's one example of the kind of interactive opportunities that we provide to the downtown visitors. And certainly under COVID conditions, it's one of the safest things that you can do. It's been very popular. We're averaging about 80 visitors a night. So if you haven't been down yet, I encourage you to do that. The next installation, if this piece is ground-based, the next one is in the air. I equate it kind of to a jungle gym feel. It's going to be very interactive, and we haven't quite yet announced who the artist is or what it is, but it's coming soon, and it's going to be equally fun. On the north lawn, we will have in mid-November a piece installed by Robert Montgomery, part of Bright Golden Haze, and it kind of feels like a billboard, and the text of a poem is illuminated in lights, so it'll be a very interesting installation, and it will allow us to use this terrace as a programming space where we'll have poetry readings and so forth. So we really want to use every square inch of this property inside and out to focus on art and experiences for everyone.
So we've talked about different ways that people can experience the art here. What about in the time of COVID? Is this place open for people, for visitors? What are all the ways that people can really experience the Oklahoma Contemporary Museum and its grounds?
Sure. So I touched on the outdoor experiences. I've touched on virtual delivery of camps, classes, and workshops. But really, we're prepared now to welcome visitors, and we have been for about 2 months. We've got a timed ticketing reservation system, and we've just expanded that to 5 visitors on the quarter hour. So it's easy to go in, and we've got our schedule 2 weeks out, block in your spot, come down when it's your slot, and take your time going through the exhibitions. Obviously, masks are required, hand sanitizers are everywhere, and our cleaning crew are wiping down regularly and frequently. And the response from our visitors has been that they feel as safe as possible. So we think we're doing a very good job at providing a safe experience. And again, there's no charge for admission. That's a commitment to access and accessibility for our community.
What about classes? You mentioned earlier that you guys do have classes for all different age groups. How have those been impacted by COVID?
So unfortunately, the 50 classes and a summer full of camps all had to be canceled. We have shifted, though, to online delivery of programming. We have a Friday night workshop where it's kind of the drink and draw concept. It's for 21 and over. Sometimes those are for materials that you would have at your home. Other times you might have to come down and pick up a kit and then take it home, and then together you and however many other participants go online, and with an instructor you're guided through an experience. It's been very popular and really fun. We've also launched a 10-week series of 10-week courses offered virtually. Everything from Pro Tools, sound mixing, to painting, to mending. We're really doing some really cool stuff. One of the most interesting things that we've done because of COVID, we recently did a live-streamed reading of a new English translation of Homer's The Odyssey, the translation by Emily Wilson.
I saw that. That was incredible.
It wasn't just readers here, it was readers from across North America.
And some really big names.
And some really big names.
Incredible,
I'm glad you knew that.
Incredible names.
Like Lee Ronaldo from Sonic Youth, B.B. Newworth from Frasier, and from Broadway's Chicago revival. It was a really extraordinary experience. We had viewers from 4 continents and half the states. And I think we're all learning lessons as we deal with what COVID forces us to face. But suddenly the 6-county area is no longer your market. 4 continents suddenly are our market.
Exactly.
And we've got people taking these online courses with friends who are on the East Coast or college friends, and they haven't seen each other in years, but yet they're taking a weekly class together.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought?
Right. It gives us more opportunity.
Gives you much more opportunity.
Yeah.
There's a lot more competition.
We won't focus on that part.
But for those who find the unique and the special way of doing things, it's really exciting. And I think a lot of these things we're going to take with us into the future.
You mentioned before we conclude, that you also had a 30-year career with the Philharmonic, another arts institution in Oklahoma City. I'd really love your thoughts on what's changed in those 3 decades. How do you think that the art community is shifting and evolving, and what gives you hope for the future?
Well, I'll deal with the last part first. Hope for our future has always been the collaborative spirit of Oklahoma City, and that's been true at my entire 30 years. This is a friendly market. Businesses, nonprofit groups love to share. They love to see each other succeed. Facilities have certainly played a fantastic role in the evolution and advancement of our arts groups. When you think about the museum and their beautiful building, with Civic Center, what it does for the Phil and for the ballet and for Canterbury, our space, the ballet's new home up on Classen, obviously facilities are important. And I think one of the outgrowths of all of those aspects is that prior to COVID, I don't think I've ever seen our arts community as healthy as it is right now. And obviously there are some challenges that brought on by COVID. But prior to what we're now dealing with, really, I don't think there was any major institution that was in deep trouble. And typically in our past, you can kind of look around, okay, now it's their turn, and now this group's having some trouble. But the health of our arts community is as strong as it's ever been. There's a new entrepreneurial class that I think sees the value of the arts. That's why Factory Obscura is with us. So people see the value of investing in the arts and what it does for people's lives and for what it does for business. Just outside of Bright Golden Haze, we have a space that we call our Learning Gallery. And typically that's an interactive experience space to dig deeper into the themes of the exhibition. But right now, there's a really special exhibit there, and it's Rand Elliott's sketchbooks and photos that he's taken. So it really shows the evolution of this institution from an idea or a handful of ideas into what it is today. And as much fun as it is to see people appreciate the art in the galleries, it's fun to watch them study Rand's scribblings. And there's even a couple of them that are on like napkins, the back of an envelope. It's a fascinating glimpse into how an artist like Rand works and develops his themes and concepts, and boom, here it is, a 54,000 square foot beautiful building. So that's something not to be missed.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So for anyone who's interested in learning more about what's upcoming for you guys, what's the best place for them to find out?
The website should be your first stop. We were in a meeting earlier today, and I was surprised to learn that our website has 600 different pages. Gulp.
It's a lot to keep
It's
updated.
a lot of information. But I mean, when you consider the breadth of everything that we do, from our studio school and the classes for adults and teens, from the public programs, from Second Saturdays for families, to the exhibitions, to the artist talks, our blog is one of the best things that we've done during the COVID times. It's a way to connect with our audiences, and in there you can see videotaped interviews with the artists from the exhibition, perspectives on everything we do from the staff, from board members. I mean, you could just spend weeks digging through but that's really the best place to find out what's going on. And if you want to know more and get tired of looking at your screen, give us a call. Our front desk staff would be happy to talk you through opportunities. If you're hungry, we have a cafe that has the best portobello mushroom Reuben sandwich in the world. Really good food, good cocktails, good coffee, baked goods. Woo.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about a happy hour, I think,
yes,
that you guys have
happy
instituted.
hour
That's
from
awesome.
5 to 7, $6
But that is
cocktails.
what's necessary in COVID times, honestly, is a happy hour.
And a unique shop, too, for that hard-to-find gift for your favorite someone.
Sounds like a lot of ways to interact with
Absolutely.
you guys. So
Come on
very
down.
exciting.
Guys, there are lots of ways to get involved with Oklahoma Contemporary, no matter what you're into. So, we would encourage you guys to give the website a visit, come out and see it for yourself, inside, outside, whatever you're comfortable with. I think they've done a really good job of making sure everything is well taken care of, and you're going to be safe, and you're going to have an excellent time. And this is really a great way to see some really groundbreaking art and really what's on the cutting edge of what's going on here in the art scene in Oklahoma City. So thank you very much for having us. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for your time.
Well, that's all that we have today for Audacity episode 16. We hope that you enjoyed the interview with Eddie Walker that we just concluded, and all of the other things detailing the great stuff happening in Oklahoma City right now.
Lots of good stuff happening. We appreciate you guys joining us. If you have feedback for us, the best way to get that to us is just to email us, and that is networking@okcchamber.com. Or if you prefer the social media route, our social media profiles are generally OKC Chamber.
That's right. You can find us almost anywhere. So we also need to give a shout out, Nate. I can't let this episode go by without saying Rick's Snack Shack.
Rick's Snack Shack
is back.
Is back.
And I'm gonna say it's because of the podcast that we talked about it last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That he was able to reopen. So I don't know who we owe for that.
The
but
fans spoke. Rick
thank
heard.
you for everyone that contacted Rick for us. I know there were a lot of you. Thank you so
sure
much.
there were.
Now I can eat snacks at the
So
chamber.
Rick's
and
Snack
my
Shack is
Dr.
back.
Pepper.
Yeah, and with some new signage too.
That's right.
Got a new logo. This is yeah.
He's coming back stronger than ever.
This is looking great. Yeah.
The power of Oklahoma City right there. Thank you, Rick. Well, anyway, we hope you enjoyed this. Please leave us a review, like, subscribe, rate, all of those fun things, and we will see you back here with more great news about Oklahoma City in the next couple of weeks.
Thanks a lot.